Hi everyone, welcome back to Urban Sketching World channel. Thanks for joining me in this video. I decided that I would do a sketch now in a different method. So the last couple of videos have kind of shown, well, the last one certainly has shown like a loose kind of sketch, or at least a loose approach to the sketch. As some people have rightly pointed out to me, my line work is actually not that loose. Which I think I said in the video too. No, you're right, definitely. I guess the technique was to show that you can make a sketch appear loose, especially by kind of putting down that first wash of watercolors. It helps you get out of that mindset of like colouring or painting within the lines, you know, because you've already put the colour down and there are no lines there, you know. So I guess it's just a cool way to kind of experiment, really, and just to try something a bit different. In this sketch, I am approaching it more how I would usually do, or definitely have done in the past, which is putting down some pencil lines, trying not to get too detailed with the pencil, but sometimes I do go a bit more detailed than perhaps I should, but let's just try and make sure I've got everything in the right place, kind of. I think it comes down to a confidence thing. But also this scene is actually quite complicated, so I thought, you know, rather do a bit more in pencil, just to make sure I kind of get the sizes and the proportions of things at least a little bit right, you know, so it's not all over the place. So this photo that you can see in the corner is of a pub called the Cross Keys Pub, which I believe is, I'm going to get this wrong now, I think it's in Covent Garden in London. Yeah, so it's just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous looking pub. I haven't actually been into this pub, but I have seen it, and I've had this photo in my to sketch folder for quite a long time. It's not my photo though, it's just one I found on Pinterest, but I am aware of this pub. So yeah, I thought after doing such a loose sketch, or loose looking sketch, in the last video, and kind of the one before that too, I thought I'd try something a bit more involved. So I'm now kind of moving on from the pencil lines into using a, I think it's, yeah, it's a 0.2 Copic multi-liner. So just trying to get that lettering right first, which is not, I didn't get very well, but you know, it kind of, it does the job, but I didn't get it like spot on or anything. And then kind of in this, I don't know what you would call it, like this relief or something at the top, where these kind of angel cherub things are holding the actual crossed keys. I always knew that was going to be a challenge as well, because it's quite detailed, and obviously I'm drawing it quite small. So I think the idea really is just to kind of get the key lines, and not get like crazy detailed trying to draw eyebrows or something on these angels, because that's just not going to work out very well. And also bearing in mind that you are going to paint this after the lines as well, so let the paint do some of the talking as well. So yeah, at the moment I've got this is the Wasabi Eco fountain pen, which you've probably heard me go on about in my other videos, which I really love. So yeah, I'm just using that now to go through and do the lines. You know, it's one of those things where it is a very detailed picture, but you've just got to try and get that detail in, try and translate it in a simple way. So, you know, where it might be a bit more complicated than just, you know, drawing some lines along those kind of semicircles, you know, just try and translate it as simply as you can, because it's one of those things where up close you might like think, oh, this looks so basic, this doesn't look good, you know, but it's one of those things where you step away from it, you know, like, whoa, okay, that actually does create the effect within the photo. You can kind of see, like, it does create this effect of looking complicated, but it's not. And I've got kind of a video on this as well, called How to Sketch Complicated Architecture, I think. And it's, you know, I talk there again, it's about trying to interpret complicated ornamental details just in simple lines or simple patterns, you know. So again, the scroll work here that I'm drawing on these columns, you know, it is kind of a bit complicated, and it's definitely hard to see in a photograph, but I've just kind of interpreted that best I can with sort of simple lines, you know. And you'd be amazed, yeah, when you step back from it and you look at the overall picture, you think, wow, that actually, yeah, that does look more complicated than what it actually is, you know. Sure, if you like really go up close into one element and really look at it, you'll realize actually it's just not accurate at all, and it's not complicated. But I'd encourage you to go and study some other people's work of such complicated ornamental details in architecture and stuff, and really look at it, and you'll also realize that actually they've just represented it in squiggles, and you don't really notice that when you're just looking at the picture as a whole. So yeah, see what you can find on that, because that definitely helped make me realize that you know, your sketch does not have to be anywhere near accurate to actually represent the thing that you're looking at. So yeah, that's a pretty cool exercise. So definitely try and do that. I took a few liberties with the photograph just to kind of simplify a few bits that either didn't make too much sense in the photo, or I just felt would like confuse things too much. This is the thing when you're drawing with a photo reference rather than going out urban sketching. You can't always see what's in those shadows on a photograph because it's like not exposed or whatever. So you know, that's always kind of the downside. But at the moment, I'm just like working so much that I just on my day job, in air quotes, day job, that I just don't have time to kind of go and sketch loads outdoors and also film it as well, because sketching outdoors on location is one thing, but actually you know, then having to try and film it as well is quite tricky. So that's why I'm doing a lot of these demos at home at the moment, just to kind of hopefully inspire you guys just to try some different ways of approaching a sketch, because I'm interested in, you know, exploring different techniques and seeing what playing with different ways of doing things in a different order, like what that will kind of achieve, really. So I think one of the most exciting parts of being an artist, or you know, engaging in art, is that you get complete freedom of expression and you can do whatever you want to do. So I find that like really liberating. So you know, try and set yourself free from what you think is the right way to do something, or what a book tells you to do, or what a YouTube video tells you to do, and just play around and do what you want to do. A lot of the time, sometimes I'll like put some watercolor down and then I'll draw some bits, and then I'll go back to the painting, and then I'll draw some more bits, and just keep it working up the whole image that way. You know, there is basically no right or wrong. You know, what we're doing here is not fine art that's going to be hung in a gallery or anything. It's our sketchbook. We're sketching outside, hopefully a lot. We can just do whatever we want, and it's capturing our memories. So just go for it, guys. So yeah, at the moment I am putting in some watercolor. I'm using the Rosemary and Co brush there, my dagger brush, which I really love. So I'm painting these plants outside the building, but they're looking pretty bright green to me at the moment, but they will I will kind of tone them down a bit later on in the sketch. This one is obviously there are a lot of like flowers and plants and stuff on the outside of this pub, which I was doing my best to kind of capture, but I think that's obviously one of the most appealing things about this image, aside from the kind of ornaments like the angels holding the keys. I really like that. I think that's really cool. And I thought I was going to be really hard, but I'm actually like reasonably happy with how they came out, especially when I sort of add a bit more paint and add a bit of the shadows and stuff like that. It kind of gives them a bit more form. I will apologise, guys, there is a massive thunderstorm going on outside right now, so I hope you can't hear that too much on the microphone. And if I can hear it too much when I'm editing this, I guess I'll re-record it. But yeah, huge thunderstorm going on outside. So the other thing I really like about this image is that I get to use a lot of the turquoise blue I have in my set, which I don't tend to use very much, but the colour of this pub is just perfect for that particular shade of paint that I have in my box, so that was good. I made an artistic license choice here to leave the windows at the top of the sketch just blank, really. I didn't paint them or shade them or do anything with them because I just wanted all the emphasis to be on this, the facade of the pub. So I quite like that effect that when I see, and I've done it myself as well if you look at my Instagram feed, but of leaving a sketch what seems half done in a way, like, so just painting certain portions of the sketch and leaving white space and just some lines and stuff. I really like that. I think it's really cool, a really cool look, and also super handy if you run out of time as well, so that works as well. So again, as I sort of mention in a lot of my videos, the key really is just to keep working the sketch up in layers, and like, don't be afraid to kind of get some really dark shades on there, and just like kind of build up the shadows and stuff just to give some real depth. So you might see me sort of going back into certain areas and just kind of painting over them again and again, but it's just because like it's not punchy enough, you know, the colour's not dark enough, not saturated enough, and it's just a case of me going in and just enhancing bits, and you know, go in stages, don't go straight in with a crazy like dark colour. That's the whole point of watercolour, is just like layering it up and stuff. But I suppose my point is to not be scared to keep going with it, you know, and keep making it darker and darker. If it's not darker, get in there, make it darker again. Punching in the shadows into this kind of thing is like the funnest part for me, because that's when it really starts to take shape, you know. So yeah, highly recommend just keep working on it, keep making areas darker. A good way to sort of like try and see where the darkest parts of the image are is just to squint your eyes at the image and just look at it, and you know, go bit by bit. So squint and then paint a bit, squint, paint a bit, and that will really help you to see where the darkest parts of the sketch are, and where you just need to keep adding shadows, you know, adding darker colours. Also remember, guys, which I'm very guilty of, is that shadows are not black, and they're not like grey. Shadows tend to be all kinds of colours, and they reflect off of the scene that you're painting. So, you know, try and bear that in mind. I think that's a really good tip. Just to interrupt things briefly, I hope you've had a chance to go over and check out urbansketchingworld.com. This is my labour of love. It's where I put everything I know about urban sketching into one place. I've got over 60 articles on the website about all sorts of different things, from favourite books to different mediums to how to do this, how to do that. So all kinds of things. It really is a fantastic resource, if I do say so myself. So please do go and check out urbansketchingworld.com for more info. So back on with the video then, just adding more and more shadows. That's what probably this last section is, just me adding darker and darker parts to this sketch. And using that Rosemary & Co dagger brush, just awesome with that point on the edge. You can really get into some fiddly spaces. So in a lot of this, I'm adding like a more concentrated mix of the turquoise blue and also a bit of indigo as well, to put those shadows in. And that's because a lot of this building is that kind of colour, that turquoise colour. So like I said earlier, I'm just trying to match the shadows with the kind of actual colour of the building, you know. So where the blue parts of the building are casting shadows, those shadows will be a blue shade, and where maybe the sign or the doors are casting a shadow, there'll be a bit more of a browner shade. And again, with the foliage here, the leaves casting a shadow on each other will be like a darker kind of green kind of colour. So try to bear that in mind, and not do what I used to do, which is just paint every shadow in Payne's grey, because that's a lazy way of doing it. But your sketch will look so much more dynamic if you actually paint the shadows in a darker version of the thing that is casting the shadow. I hope that makes sense. I didn't explain that very well, but I hope that makes sense. So yeah, I'm really liking how this is kind of starting to look, you know, it's kind of nice and punchy, just adding a few splatters just because personal taste, that's what I like to do. Just trying to darken up those barrels. I feel like the barrels are like the blandest part of this sketch so far, like they don't have too much variation in them. But equally I don't really want the eye to be drawn to them too much, but yeah, they're probably not the best. Oh, and now I'm doing probably exactly what I told you not to, but I'm actually using like a grey Faber-Castell pen, and that again is just to get in there with a sharp point and just punch up a few more of those shadows. But it's overlaying the watercolour, so it will still retain the shade colour that I put down there, but just kind of like darkening a few bits and just trying to make that lettering stand out a bit more. I really did make a mess of this lettering, but you know, it's quite hard at this size to get like a nice accurate version. So I'm just going in with a white gel pen as well, just to try and make it stand out a bit more. And then just adding a few little street bits to the street there, to the pavement, darkening up those barrels a bit more. I think this is pretty much done. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I wouldn't call it a tutorial as such, but I hope you enjoyed watching me paint this scene. And I hope what I've mentioned has given you a few ideas to try out in your own sketches. And just while I have you guys, I know I mention it a lot, but I do have a book out which is features over 130 of my ink and watercolour sketches that I did whilst I was travelling over the last 3 years. I visited 15 different countries, some of them more than once, across 4 different continents. And it's an ebook, so it's 60 pages that you can instantly download in a PDF kind of format. So, you know, it's good to watch, it's good to look at on any device, on your laptop, on your tablet, on your phone, anything like that. So if you are interested, please check out the link in the description below, and don't forget to use the discount code USKWorld for 20% off as well. So that money obviously comes to me, it helps me run this channel, it helps me run urbansketchingworld.com, and hopefully to bring you some awesome new content for the rest of the year and also into 2021 as well. So yeah, please do check it out, guys. Other than that, remember to check out the website urbansketchingworld.com. And thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.